What should it feel like when you're learning a new language? Language learning can be difficult in itself, and there's so many reasons why people give up. Language learning at its core is very psychological. You need to enjoy the process in order to push past through it and get the most out of it. And in this video, I'm going to give you top tips on how it should feel like at every stage of the process, from learning a new language from scratch to reaching a decent conversational level at another language. My name's James, I'm native in English, puedo hablar español y anche posso parlare italiano. I help people reach a conversational level in a different language. So to start with, you'll probably be using an app like Duolingo or Memrise to get the basics down. So the how are you, where are you from, my name is, that sort of thing really. However, you'll feel that nothing is going in. You'll be a couple of weeks in, you're learning bits, but you're forgetting it. You can't get the pronunciation right if you're trying to speak it, and you don't really understand what the native person is saying. You just hear a jumble of noises. At this point, your motivation will be at its highest because you've decided, right, I want to learn this language. You've been inspired by something and you want to get there. You want to get to a conversational level or to a level of fluency or whatever your goal is essentially. But you'll question what you're doing. You'll be thinking, is it really worth it? I'm not seeing any progress, and therefore is the effort required to get there worth it? So these are normal thoughts. These are thoughts that everyone has when they're starting a new skill. It's because when you start something, you're rubbish at it. You're really bad at that thing. But what you find is that you get little wins. You'll remember some bits of it, or you'll be in the shower, you'll be thinking, you'll be going for a walk. And in your mind, if you've done, say, 15 minutes on Duolingo or Memrise or on an app or you've heard it, a certain word or sound will be going across your mind. That's what normally happens. That's your brain absorbing that new information. So at this point, try not to think about why you're learning it. Try and turn off that thought process in your mind. One main aspect at this point that I will say is trust the process. You have to trust that even though you don't feel like you're progressing at the moment, your brain is subconsciously working out patterns and thoughts and feelings around the new language. That's why when you're walking or when you're doing something which doesn't take much effort, you're subconsciously going over in your mind. You might be thinking of a new word without even actively consciously thinking about it. Your mind is just playing on words, and gradually it's absorbing the information. It's not showing you much yet because it can't do much with that information, but trust that your brain is working on it. In my opinion, this is the hardest bit of learning a different language within the first month because you don't see much progress, it's taking a lot of effort to get there, and you don't really see a reason to continue. However, it's after this 4 week mark, roughly after a month, that you start to see things sticking in your head and you'll start recognizing the things that native speakers are saying, which brings me on to the second stage. This is normally at 1 to 3 months in. Obviously, it depends how much studying you're doing every day, but assume that you're doing about half an hour studying every day. I say studying, I mean like literally it could be a few minutes on Duolingo, a few minutes on Memrise, listening to a podcast or watching a few YouTube videos. All you have to do is half an hour of immersing yourself in the language, whatever language you choose for that amount of time. Obviously, this time period depends on yourself and how you're learning and a lot of different variables, but in general, 1 to 3 months is where I'm going to place this time period now. At this point, you start to see progress, which is great. You'll start to know that you can actually say basic phrases and you're going to be understood by native speakers, which is perfect because all the effort you've put in the past 4 weeks, you start to see that now. You will have really bad grammar at the moment. You'll say things that make sense, but native speakers question, okay, what does that mean? They have to work out what you're saying, but that means you can still communicate. And from that point, it means that you feel progress, and that's brilliant for you. A great thing at this point is you can think more in that language. You can think, you're in the shower and you're thinking about things, and words and phrases in your target language are popping up just out of nowhere. And you can now put phrases together and join things up a bit more. All these things are adding up together and your mind is doing all the work. What happens at this point as well is the fact is you can speak more in that language, you can use it more, which in turn makes you improve and increase your rate of progress because you can use it a bit more, so you use it more and you get better at it. So it's like a cycle. The cycle starts here really after about 1 month because you can actually construct basic sentences and have a conversation with a native speaker without using your native language. That's the most important bit. However, in terms of how it feels, some days you feel like you cannot speak the language at all. To be fair, that happens in your native language anyway, so don't beat yourself up. We forget things to say in our native language and we can't quite get the right words to tell someone something. The most important thing here is don't give up because of that. Understand that forgetting words and phrases and having days when you just can't speak the language is a natural part of the process. On the other hand of that, you'll find that within this period of 1 month to 3 months as well, you'll find that some days you're smashing it. You can say everything you want to, and you just words are loading and they're becoming available, and you're speaking quite quickly to the native speaker, so you can impress yourself. So when this happens, take note and celebrate it, and give yourself credit for how far you've come in that short space of time. And the feelings of success like that, the feelings that you're progressing, you're doing well, they are what keep you going. The next period of time is 3 months to 6 months. So that's when you can have sort of intermediate conversations with people. And this is a great point because it means you can speak. All that happens is that you're saying grammatical errors and you can't quite remember certain past tenses of words, or some niche words are not available for you right now. You just can't think of it. You just can't remember niche words. However, at this point, some people would consider this their goal. If you can have an intermediate conversation with someone about what you think of certain aspects of life, or you can have discussions about different things, and if you don't know a particular word, you can use other words to get around it. And that's where you want to be. And I'm going to say that after this period, so say 3 to 6 months, when you can have intermediate conversations, at that point, the definition of fluency is very, very grey. So it's hard for someone to say, yes, I'm fluent or not. Because fluency, in a sense, is you can express your opinions and thoughts and understand native speakers without much effort. At this point, some people between 3 to 6 months may be at that stage, depending on how much effort they've put in within that time period. But generally, this is a very good level, an intermediate level, and it's a level where you still make grammatical mistakes, but you're aware of it normally after you've said it. So at that point, you can communicate well, you can communicate fluently in that sense. You don't have to think too much about what you're saying, but you'll still have off days when maybe you're a bit tired or you're not in the mood or something, or you can't quite remember certain words or some past tenses or something. That happens to everybody, even in your native language. And this also happens at this stage of the process as well. So don't beat yourself up if it happens, because you will have that. You'll have off days, and you'll also have days when you seem to be absolutely fluent and you can remember everything to do with language, and that's great as well. So that is it. I've divided it up between 3 different stages of language learning. The first one arguably is the hardest, and I wanted to make a video about this because the way it feels to learn a different language and to get involved in language learning is very important, because we stop learning something because it feels bad to us. It feels bad to be bad at something, and you have to push past that, but also understand that these are the norms. This isn't just you being bad at it, therefore you should stop. It's what everyone has to go through when they're learning a different language. And if you understand that, it makes you feel better, because it makes you feel like that's normal and it's part of the process. And other people have got fluent or got a high conversational level in a different language using this same technique, so you can too. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. And also, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe. Thanks. See you later.